I want to introduce Kirsten and Sheila, but I don't want to introduce them that much. I just want to give a platform to them or give a chance to them to introduce themselves. I want to start with Kirsten. Can you introduce yourself, Kirsten? How and where and how did you become art, and how did we get to know you in Namibia, for example, and where are you now? And yeah.
Okay, my name is Kirsten Baxterberger, and I was born in Namibia. Why I started with art was actually, it was the only way I could express my feelings properly at the time. So, and I had a really great art teacher at school, so I decided I want to be like her. So that was really why I did art. It's like a funny reason, but yeah. And yeah, I practiced in Namibia for a long time. Then I moved to Berlin now in June 2016. Since then, I've been here in Berlin practicing art. Yeah, that's short and sweet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kirsten. Sheila.
Yes.
Now, can you please introduce yourself, and do you know Namibia, or how do you, I want to know actually how I get to know you. I want to know all those information.
Okay, my name is Sheila Nakintende from Uganda. Multidisciplinary artist. Been practicing almost all my life. The thing is, we limit ourselves in the arts, but I mean, there's so much. Anything is art. Chefs are artists, you know. So for me, that was like, I couldn't be anything else. Everywhere I was, I just noticed that I was an artist. And how I came to know you, Actofel, was actually through the Tulipamwe in 2017. And it's beautiful that, I mean, we are here and I'm seeing all the faces that I met then, Nikki and you, and for you to reach out is really special, you know. Yeah.
Thank you for look back to us again, for engaging with Namibian people again. We really appreciate it. And we also want to thank Kirsten to think back home, to accept our call out to you, and we really appreciate it. So we want to start with our why we are here. We actually we have two presentations today that's going to come from Kirsten and Sheila on their artwork and their life as an artist, and how they become, and the challenges maybe that all the things. We just have to hear from what they're going to say from their side. So we are going to start with Kirsten. Kirsten, can you tell us why you are here?
Okay, you want me to share the screen?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Where's my stuff? Oh, there we go. Okay, I'll start at the back because that's the latest stuff. Sorry, just close your eyes for now. Okay, I'll just start with where I came from. I actually studied painting or two-dimensional studies at the university. Mm-hmm. And this was from my first solo exhibition where I was really involved with kind of, I worked a lot with identities and faces in the sense of, here my question was really identities in online Facebook and real identities. So it was this kind of twofold part where I noticed in 2012 that you know, many people had different personalities online and also did different things differently than they would normally do things. So that was then, so these are just normal paintings with little symbols. Here you can see it's the laughing smiley. Here it's actually the shortcut for an angel. And I think on this one you can't see it so well, but there's they're crying smileys there, and here it's the moody smileys. So it was just kind of a juxtaposition of reality and fiction in a way, or Facebook online, Twitter, no, not Twitter, what was it, WhatsApp and stuff. So that was then.
Kristen,
Yeah.
Your presentation is not showing. It just
Oh, you can't see anything?
we
That's
can
weird.
see your screen, but we can't see the artwork. You didn't click in the artwork. Can you start over again, please?
Oh, you can't see this here. You can't see what I'm seeing.
No, you can't see what you see.
It didn't open.
Can you start over again?
Yeah, I will. But can you see it now? Because that's the important thing, I guess.
We can. We can see your screen, but we can't see your artwork, your presentation.
Okay, you can't see these 4 artworks that are on there, no?
No.
No.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll just stop the share screen quickly and I'll redo it.
Yeah.
And now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, super.
Yes.
Oh, okay, that's so weird because it's the same on mine. On mine, it looks exactly the same. Okay, so yeah, these are the artworks that I just talked about. This was from my first solo exhibition in 2012. And there you can see this is the shortcut for the angel smiley online. And here it's just the smiley. So it was kind of a juxtaposition of what we are in real life and what we are online. That was kind of, those identities were, I was exploring them at the time. So that was still painting. That is where I came from, painting. And then I stopped painting. And this was also from the same exhibition. I think many of you were there. Actually, well, you were there. There's evidence, photo evidence of you being there. And this was kind of experimental performance art that I did at the time, where it was really about connections we have with people, strings, and how much effort we put into connections. So there was the symbolism for this work was really, it took a lot of time to put the beads on the string, but it took such a short while to rip it apart or to spread them apart again, to break something. So there was just a comment on that kind of experimental performance stuff, which was fun at the time. And yeah, this was still at the Goethe Center where I did a paper installation, and this one was called Muse. And yeah, I did 365 butterflies, one for each day, and they had a kind of a word written on it that I associated with love, or it could be a good or bad association. And I would repeat that on each one, and then I'd stuck it there, and people could take these messages home and stick them wherever. So it was kind of like a participatory performance where you could take part of an idea or something beautiful, or the one you love the most, or the word you love the most, and then take it home and think about it and be reminded of it. So it's kind of always a bit like, one could say cute art. Yeah. I like to remind people of nice things as well, I guess, and to make them think and of things again. And this was a performance also from 2012. This was called Label. And here I stood in a glass case in the Marua Mall shopping center in Windhoek. And the essence of this work was really, I wanted people to label me. And that was because I wanted them to become conscious of their thought processes of labeling others. I don't know if it was successful because I can't see into people's minds, and I guess the intent of doing an artwork and then how it actually comes over, or how it manifests is out of control, out of your control. That's always when you do public art or participatory art. So, but it was quite interesting, the comments that were on the glass case. I think the most interesting part to me was really that in the end, people would come and look at the comments that were already written on the glass case, and then from there actually choose a comment that would suit them, and then write that onto the glass case, which is kind of very, how do you say, normal, or often it happens that we base our opinions or our value systems or our thoughts or whatever on what other people say or think. So I wanted just people to be aware of how we discriminate people and just what we think. I mean, when you walk down the street and you think, oh my God, that person is fat, that's not really, really nice. And it's not very constructive. So that was what the work was about, really. And this one was a kind of a spiritual progress work, where it was also from 2012, where you could actually walk into the work as it was like a spiral kind of way. So it was a symbolism of coming from the outside and the outside environment and outside influences into the inner you, yourself, your own little, that protective little piece of you that's inside somewhere. And it was just to show the growth process. So I had all kinds of stuff in the windows, masks of my own face that were like horrible, some of them. Some are nice, some are horrible. But it was just to show the whole progress. I even had some plasters there with Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, which kind of showed that, when you get hurt and you put a plaster on, you can also do that spiritually, or when you've been in love and you get hurt, you put a plaster on, kind of thing. So it was kind of that kind of symbolism. Yeah. So a lot of my art, I think, is about spiritual. I would just say growth and spirituality in a way, and personal growth at that time, anyway. And this one was a multimedia installation in the National Art Gallery in Namibia. You can't really see much because it was actually also that dark. It was 2 video screens opposing each other, but the sounds were exchanged. So on the one video screen, I had really beautiful movie images, all from movies where people, look into each other's eyes and, the beautiful parts, and they love each other, kind of, there's marry me, and I took like a part of that. And then on the other side, on the video screen, I had all the bad parts, and it was like getting worse. First somebody would hit someone, and then, explosions and boom and bang and all that. So, but what I did was I exchanged the sound, so that if you looked at the one and you listened to the sound, it was kind of, because you would expect on the beautiful one to have, oh, I love you, but then actually it was like screams. So that was just to wake us up. Or my aim was to wake people up about what we consume on the media, and how our subconscious is actually very much can't see the difference between reality and fiction. So when we watch a movie, we get just as excited, and we have just as much adrenaline, and we pour just as many, all kinds of stuff out, or stress hormones. So that was really just to have people think of that. And the strings and stuff was just the connection and the matrix of how everything is connected within that, all the media and all how people are connected. And if anybody wants to see more about these things, I have links on here, and I can later share it. Some of them have video documentations and stuff. And this is the video from the Triennial, in Namibia in 2014. It was called Borders, and here it was really just about borders. I don't know how else to explain it really, and how we also have different borders in reality, physical borders, but also borders online, where, for example, online we would share everything, and that's why you can actually see there's some Facebook stuff on here as well. And then again, these kind of icons, I love using online stuff with real stuff, because it is always different. I feel that online life is so much different than reality, or nowadays not so much, but at that time. So that was the borders that we have and how much we share. You know, on online we share everything without reading it, but in reality we can't. We have borders. Countries have borders. We have borders from each other. We have borders in our houses to the neighbors. So that was a comment on the one we can do it and the other one we can't, and how is that possible in a sense? Yeah. I have to talk quicker, I'm taking too long. This is an installation with bioplastic and sand. This was done in Australia, in a residency there. And this was really a comment on capitalism. I'm an anti-capitalist. That was how animals, for example, ants, obviously not all ants, but I was thinking of how can we draw from animals to that where the communities work so very well, which work better than the capitalist communities work at the moment. So here I had the ants actually create a $sign, and they're about 30 centimeters by, I think, 20 centimeters high each. So that was the bioplastic and sand. It was a recipe that I then developed, and I'm actually using this recipe nowadays much more. So I'm working with that. That's more like my line these days. And this was the multimedia installation in Australia, where I did a performance which I recorded, and then I also had a swing here, as you can see, and then the hopscotch game, and then I also have shoes from baby shoes until adult shoes, like my now shoes. And here again, the symbolism was really how it's like the hopscotch is the game of life in a way, and how we progress through life from little to older. And the swing was how it actually symbolizes how we use I haven't practiced my English for a very long time, so I'm losing some of the vocabulary at the moment. But the swing was really the childish, how we, not as a child, but as a child, how you swing, and you fall off and you can get hurt, but you can also swing and jump off further. So it's kind of the movement of going back and forth of being a child, being an adult, like we do many times in relationships, when somebody tells you something and then you react as a kid and you go, but I don't want that. Or you can also choose to react as an adult and then jump off into the shoes here. But yeah, the shoes were all kind of, I tore them and I worked on them and stuff, just to show also the hurts that we go through as kids, and then as adults as well, and how we grow from them. But we go on with life. So again, it's again very kind of spiritual, personal growth stuff. And this one was at the Franco-Namibian Cultural Center. There's Actifel. You can see him there in the blue shirt. And this was a performance with 3 aspects, really. The one was a video, how do you say, projection onto my body. And the other one was me in the coffin as well. And the third element was really me talking or speaking. So the projection was things that happened to me in life. So it was, if it's breakups or whatever, it was just a visualization of that. And what I was saying was things that people would know about me or could know about me. It was my name, my identity number, my bank account number, all of those external things. And then me laying in the coffin is really was symbolic of how vulnerable we are. Yeah, that's really how vulnerable we are, and then also being naked obviously showed the vulnerability as well. Yeah, and that was just about the different identities that we have, and how this also shifts, that we are developed, or we develop not just from the external but the internal, and yeah, all the aspects make us in a way. And this was for the Tuli Pamwe workshop in 2015, and this was Archived Memories. I actually still do this performance once in a while here in Germany as well. And this was really, this is really personal, because this was, these are memories I had on beds, which were made, I'd written down 200 something memories. They've become more now over time, on this piece of paper, which was like a catalog in a way. And these little stones that are lying here were numbers or labels that would then correspond to on the paper. And so people could choose one of these tags, and I would read my memory. So it was all kinds of memories, from childhood abuse to fun things with other children, jumping on the bed, to having my first sex, to, yeah. And it was a personal thing, but it was also that the sharing of taboos, because we're so used to, we're not allowed to share many things in society, or we feel like we're not allowed to. So I wanted for it to be okay, that you can talk about if stuff happened to you in your childhood, that it should be okay, and people should accept that. So there was that. And this was, I think this is where I started getting a bit more political in my work. And this was a performance in Independence Avenue, where I cleaned the street, the same spot, Monday to Friday at the same time. So, and people just walked by. And at the beginning, they would just look at me funny. And then later on, some of them would come back and ask me if I'm selling a product, or in essence, well, the interesting part of the whole work was really that none of the people that went past actually believed that I was just cleaning there. They all thought that I was doing something else. And that was, with the conversation with the people that stopped, it was because I was white. In Namibia, a white person doesn't necessarily clean the streets. I don't know how it is nowadays, but at that time, when I was doing the performance, that you wouldn't see that. So it went as far as that a lady from a restaurant actually brought me a coffee. Weird. It's weird, because they usually bring a black person a coffee cleaning the street. So obviously there are different circumstances, and because I was doing it every day, that might have been also influenced the person to bring me a coffee. But so this was just a kind of a way of bringing some awareness to who's doing what, not just black and white issues, but also that cleaners, for example, are paid really badly, teachers, educators, that all of these positions are paid really badly, and that they should be paid better. So I actually came into conversation with the people that went by, and we had proper talks about what's right and what's wrong in that sense. So yeah. This was at the National Art Gallery, and this I also do here in Germany still. And when there's themes, democracy themes, I do this participatory artwork as well. And here the concept is quite easy. If you know memory, the memory where you have to match the same pieces, but here it wasn't same pieces but opposites. So I would match homosexual with heterosexual. I would match man with woman. I would match employed with unemployed. So, and the reason for that was really that the idea was for people to play memory, and that's all the instructions in the way they got. And then when they started playing, they saw that these pieces don't really match. And only after a while, they noticed, oh, they don't match. And then, but why do they match? So the idea was to make people think of why would these be equal? Because the other side of the artwork had the equal sign. So, and then it also was called democracy, I think, or equality. What was it called? Human rights. So we all equal, whoever we are, whatever color we are, whatever race or language we speak. And this is also a performance piece, participatory performance in the same kind of line. It's also, I also do this one still nowadays. And this was really where we talk, it's a game. I'm just scared, I'm taking so much time, it's taking so long. Here we talk about, well, it's a group of people that play together, and the one that builds the highest tower would win. Now, in order to build the highest tower, you have to be the most marginalized. So here you would actually, let's say number one is all age. So one person would take one of these little pieces, and let's say number one says age. And then everybody in the round would take this number one, and then they would talk about how they're discriminated being their age or not. So you'll go once round, and then you have another chance to actually say, okay, no, I actually do feel more discriminated because I didn't realize that I was actually discriminated now listening to all the others. Or you could say, actually, I don't feel that discriminated now. And then you put your stone back. So in other words, the person that actually is the most discriminated in the end is the winner. So it's kind of irony in a way, but it helps the people actually make a fun part out of it. So they actually start laughing about it in a way. So it's not too heavy, because there's a lot of heavy stuff comes through art from this. And these are people that don't know each other, that are talking about the sexual orientation or, those things. So it's you don't have to. You can also pass and say, no, I don't want to talk about this. But everybody actually does every time. Yeah. I think I'll just skip this one. It's not so interesting because I'm just taking too much time. And then there's also this one. Also skip this one. I'll go to what I'm doing now. I think it's better. So this is the bioplastic in sand. We actually use earth or sand, and then I have this special bioplastic recipe, which I have to redevelop every time depending on the sand, and then I make things from it. So in this instance, I actually did a installation in Berlin in an old fountain, and here it was really it was the Earth Festival, so it was Earth coming from Earth. So I actually made animals from Earth to celebrate the Earth, and these were tortoises and snails and snakes and all of that. So I had the whole fountain, actually animals coming from out from there, and then they stay there to disintegrate again. So that's the whole concept now, as well, as that they disintegrate in nature. So you put them in public, and then they can just be destroyed in public again, and nothing is left, or they steal them or whatever. Or actually, this one was destroyed after 2 weeks. There was nothing left. Then this was from a residency in Germany. And this is a similar concept again with the bioplastic and sand. But this one was, the title of the residency, or the theme, was The Earth We Live Off, or the Earth We Live From. So what I did was, from this acre that you can see in the top left corner, I actually stole some sand while I was on residency. And then I made these little creatures that would actually have a lot of would have a big association with sand or soil, because soil is only healthy if there are lots of organisms in it. So I actually replicated organisms that would live in the soil and make the soil healthy for us to eat from, as a comment on monoculture, because these were monoculture acres which actually more or less destroy the soil. Yeah, so that was the comment there. And this one was my last bioplastic and sand installation that was from last year. It was also in Berlin. And this was, the bottom one is here at the end when people already had taken some. I actually, from the gallery, I removed it into the outside later, because it's really work that should be outside and not in the gallery, because it needs to transform. And this one was a comment on in the sense of power and not power, also black and white in that sense, because this speaks about Namibia, or third world countries and first world countries, and how power is very distorted. In this instance, the white pieces were the first world countries, and then the black pieces were the third world countries, or black and white, if you can also work it as that. And then I actually used the pieces themselves to symbolize different things, and had some Namibian dune sand for the queen here. I actually imported that just to have one queen. Wow. But this is a very difficult, I would need to talk about it a very long time because it's a lot of symbolism in there. So for those who are actually very interested in it, there's a link there, and there's a video where I talk about it as well. So yeah, that's basically it. And this is just a video art that I did on how females leave their online marks these days. So it's kind of like how women are seen online and what we leave online. But it's out of the context from there. This is more what I'm doing right now. So this is, sorry, I took a long time, and I'm done now. So, stop.
Okay, thank you, Kirsten. I just want to ask you just 2 questions before I give everyone a chance to ask questions. The first question I want to ask you is it okay if we send your presentation to our members?
Yeah, sure, of course. I mean, it's just pictures and then the links. So yeah, sure. It's all on my website, so they can look at it.
And the second question comes like, can you please tell us about the art and nudity?
The art that?
And nudity, and nude.
The shaping identity, you mean, in the coffin?
Yes. Like,
yeah.
Like in general, how do you see art and nude? Like, can we keep them? What do you think about it?
Oh, I don't really have an opinion. I mean, if you feel that your body will, in the nude, express something particular, I think it's fine. I mean, I guess there's a difference between pornography and art in a way, but it depends how you use your nude body. It's really, in that instance, when I did that, I was very aware that in Namibia you don't really display yourself naked. Here in Germany, it would be, oh, another nude person. It's not really a big thing here. Yeah, I don't have an opinion that I would say it's good or bad or everybody should do it. It depends on your concept.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kirsten. I just want to see, is there anyone who wants to ask Kirsten a question? Is there any question out there? You can raise your hands. Like there's a button there that you can just raise hands. So, anyone? Or can we go to Sheila? Can we move on?
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, Sheila, it's a chance. I just want to make you
host.
I have to make you a host.
Okay.
Yes. Make you a host. Just hold on. I want to make Sheila first. Where's Sheila?
You're still the host.
Okay. You are now a host, Sheila.
Okay. So I share my screen.
Yes.
Click here. And, yeah. Okay. So I think I should also go back briefly
Okay.
where I started, just very briefly, and then I'll take you to where I am right now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, this is my portfolio from, let me see. Okay, yeah. Work that I've done. I'll start from
Sheila,
way back.
Sheila,
Can you? Yes?
I'll ask you to exit your screen and restart again because it's not showing.
Okay.
Here we are.
You
No.
can see it now?
Just now we could.
No, it's not showing again.
Should I send you share?
Just
Stop share and then.
Yeah, stop sharing and restart again from the screen.
Okay. I think I need to close some of these. Just hold on. I think they're the ones that are causing me. Sorry, guys.
It's fine. It's fine.
I told you this is only
It's okay.
Okay. Yeah, I had all these things open, so just wait. Okay. See, what is it now? Okay. And then again, share screen. Is that okay?
It's not yet. Yeah, it's coming.
Not yet. It's okay now?
It's coming.
And now?
You open it. Yeah, I can see your screen.
I think you should have your portfolio open before you share your screen.
Okay. Okay, so I close again. Stop. Okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. And then this one. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Nikki.
I don't know if it'll work.
Okay, let's do this. There. Are we good?
Loading maybe. Yeah, it's loading. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so we are going back quickly where I've been, and I'm going to scroll all the way down from, I just picked a few of the works that were symbolic in my practice. Yeah. I was a painter as well, but I suddenly stopped and I got interested in experimenting with different techniques. And this is one of the works that I really went out of my comfort zone, and I did it during the Kampala Art Biennale. It was about, I was tackling relationships, virtual relationships, like what we are doing now, and what the technology has done to us, the habits. And here, my highlight was in mainly communication, how people have stopped writing letters. At least here, I'm very sure some children don't even have the experience of posting a letter. They don't even know what it means. They've never seen, what's that? That thing that they put on the envelope? A stamp. You see? So those kinds of problems, and I was tackling that during the Biennale. I made it interactive where I got people to start writing letters again, at least to me, and to know what they felt like, you know, what it meant to them. And actually, I got very interesting feedback that it was a nice reminder, you know. So it also triggered other, you know, effects of technology, people being fake, people, you know, looking for physical satisfaction virtually. I call the artwork, the deliverables remain physical, because at the end of the day, you're not going to achieve very many things virtually. Yeah. So that's one of the ones I And then another one was this one, where I'd started working with paper, waste paper. And I exhibited it for another exhibition. It was not my exhibition, but I featured in the exhibition. It was called Omweso. And Omweso is the board game. I don't know what you call it in Namibia, I've forgotten, but I remember talking to someone. The board game with pits where you use beads and move around. In my culture here in Uganda, women are not allowed to play that game because it's a game of strategy, and they would say that if women engage in it, they would not cook food or they'll not engage in their responsibilities because it's very addictive. And I decided to use basket weaving as a metaphor for the responsibility women take on to engage on, on looking after their families. And I was wondering how a mere game can get them addicted to forget, their responsibilities. Yes, and this was one of the artworks. And during this time is when I was really interested in working with I'd started using, found objects, but my focus was on paper. And slowly I got, I actually did a solo show with the same material, doing performance and working with paper. This one, you remember, I did in Namibia. Yes. It was about adaptations, and I was trying to explore, survival of humankind. I used an impression of a hide, the skin of an animal. But still, I used different materials, some of which I came with from home and others I got in Namibia. Yeah, just to adapt to the space that I was put into. And I did that. This one I did in, This one I did in Vienna. Still, using waste paper. And I was talking about, it's called Tukwataganye. And I was talking about relationships in this particular space, because the artwork was going to Vienna. We all know the history of Vienna, the racism and, the fact that right now there's so many races living there now that they've opened their doors. I know it's still there, but there's that ability to open doors to immigrants, to accept intermarriages and other factors, that influence human beings to assimilate, and associate with each other. So this artwork, the chain, was the symbol of that connection. Chains, like currently when people see chains, they think about slavery, they think about, prison. But in this case, I used that as a, the connection bit. Yeah. Not to look at each other as, enemies, but chains. We create a chain. And still I used waste paper for that one. And this one I did at a residence in New York. I received a grant to particularly focus on my practice as a paper maker using traditional fibers, because then I had picked on the love for material culture to create my own materials and use them to express myself. And as a woman, I know many of us are very handy. So for me, that was the direction I was taking, to create my own, little things that I can work with from the groundwork all the way up, and I can manipulate them. So I went there, not only on the basis of practicing the paper making, but also to do research, because I noticed there's a way they have different, people make paper here, but there's something that was lacking. So when I went for that residency, I was kind of doing research to find alternatives here. What is it that they have there that we can use here, And I realized the alternative plants here. I did quite a lot of research, plants that can help us achieve different grammages of paper, different colors. So you have different materials that behave in a different way. And as an artist, you know that you know, through experience, you find that different materials behave a certain way. So during this residency is when I had an exhibition and still tackling the role of women. I did this artwork and it was talking about the Queen's Closet. Women, you know, they carry a lot. They, what should I call it? They have a lot in their closets. Yeah. And sometimes they are misunderstood. I used, when you look at this woman, she looks like a deity, yeah? But you find that probably she's not, she's just misunderstood, you know? It's just that she's carrying a lot of that mysteriousness and that secludedness. She's, you know, keeping in a lot. Yeah. So I just reconstructed that. Oh, I'm echoing. Can you hear me? I reconstructed that to depict the role of women in society and what they experience while they are being misunderstood. This is also another artwork that I did during that residency. If you remember when we were in Namibia, there was that guy called Tabo Pitso.
Yes.
Yeah, you remember. So I was inspired by his name. He told me his name means the gatherer, and women are clearly gatherers. So if you look at it, if you know Pitso, you remember very well. I think you can see the relationship in a way. And even in his character, the way he works, he's a gatherer because he also works with found material. Yeah, so his name inspired me to you know, do this artwork. And also in itself, it depicts or it illustrates the unifying factor of women in our society. Yeah, in whatever they do, at the end of the day, there's that yearning to unify people. Yeah. And then this is my current one. I actually did it last year. It was meant to be exhibited somewhere, but I just pulled out. And it was speaking about, it was a performance. And it was speaking about women as reservoirs of culture. This particular exhibition was about water. And as you can see in that performance, I was carrying calabashes and gourds. And these are very symbolic in our culture as forms of storage for water. Yeah, so me carrying many of those is like reservation, not only of water, but of our culture, our knowledge, and things that contribute to our well-being. Yeah. So I want to go to exactly what I'm doing now. This is one of the things I'm doing now as a performance, but can you see that one?
Yes.
Okay, that is where I am now. After my residency in New York,
Sheila,
I was, yes?
Sheila, are you still talking on the artwork with a calabash, or you move on?
We move on, sorry.
Okay, it's not showing. So you still with that.
This one is not showing, eh?
Yeah, I think we have to
Okay.
do it again.
Okay, so I close this one. Okay, now let I share again. This one, share. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Okay, so this is where I am now. Of course, I didn't just get here. When I went to the residency, I took time off, like since 2017, and I was really engrossed in doing research for making my own paper. But not just to make paper, but to be able to use it and manipulate it and treat it like a human being. You know, how you do something to a human being and they react. That's what I did. Yeah, so I've been exploring it and doing research and, you know, making lots of mistakes with it and, you know, finding moments. So this is, I'm going to share very briefly the small ones that I'm working with. part of what I'm working with. This particular artwork was actually supposed to be exhibited as an installation, but I've chosen the small ones, bits and pieces, so you can see where I am now. I was able to make, you see this material, the back, this one, huh? The back cloth. You remember I came with it to Namibia.
Yes, we were wearing the hat.
Yeah, you still have it. Yes, so I've been able to make different grams, like grammages, I don't know what they call it, but levels of paper, from the thick one to the really light one, and I'm able to manipulate it. And when you look at this artwork, it's actually the same artwork. You're able to view the artwork in front and at the back. And I give the viewer an experience or choice to take whichever side they want. Yeah, which is, I think, another thing I'm looking for, so that the viewer or the audience can make a decision for themselves on the artwork, on how they can engage with it. So that's the same artwork, but front and back. And this is the same thing, paper back cloth, and you can have it front and back. You can view the artwork front and back. And then in the case of the installation, I introduce light, which has been an element in my work. Like previously, if you've seen the work that I've shared, I bring the element of being able to introduce different shapes, different forms. And if I'm installing it with light, definitely something else will happen. So this is the other artwork you just saw, but a bit tilted, introducing light and shadow. And this is another one, same thing, but this is from the white back cloth. I don't think you had a chance. I came with the brown one, I didn't come with the white one, yeah? Yes. So this is from the white back cloth. Yeah, and the piece you can see from front and back. Same thing. When installed, it's a different experience altogether. Yeah, with light. Same thing here. And I introduce another fiber, raffia, just to see how it reacts, because all these are fibers, you know. And of course, you're wondering why my subject is women. I don't know what. I mean, I mostly tackle womanhood, and it's easier for me to tackle experiences. But even then, I don't have a problem stepping out, yeah, and tackling the other gender, or, yeah. Same thing here, but this one, now, if you see the orange one, it's also paper made from raffia. Yes, and the rest is back cloth. And you can see the artwork from front and back. And this one I made from banana fiber. And that's the same experience, yeah, when installed. Of course, I can't have an installation now because these are things that happen in real time, and can only be documented in real time. And since the artwork is meant for an exhibition, I'm hoping when the borders open, it will happen. Then I can document the real-time experience. And of course, there are other things and forms and sculptures that will complement it. Yeah. And then this is the performance that I did. Yeah. Something I still would like to engage with, even while working with the fibers. I am also looking to merge the traditional techniques with modern technology, whereby I create the material and on it, I present, you know, a video, or depending on what I'm doing, really. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sheila.
I stop sharing?
Yeah, you can stop sharing. Because I have 2 questions for you.
Please go ahead.
Number 1 question is the same. It's can we share your presentation to our members?
No problem, as long as they don't misuse it.
I'm sure they won't.
Huh?
And the second question, it's about
Yeah.
barcode.
Yes, back cloth.
So can you take us through that again? Because I don't know if we have barcode in Namibia. But how do you get to see them? How do you get to make them? How do you make them yourself, or you buy them, or what is the story
Okay.
behind?
Backcloth is a fiber harvested from a tree called the motuva tree locally. In the scientific name is a bit complicated for me. I like to use the traditional name. So it's harvested, it's a fiber harvested. And the beautiful thing about it is the tree is not wasted. It will still regrow back and you can still harvest another fiber from it. So once it's harvested, maybe I'll share some video with you, because I'm not the only artist working with backcloth, by the way. I have just chosen to upcycle it in this format after working with waste paper. I realized that there's potential. Yeah, there's so much you can do with backcloth. Yeah, so how I get paper from it is really hard. Yes, there are two options. When I went for the residency, I mean, that's a place with technology. So I wanted to do something that works for the artist in my environment, because we have access to the material, but how can we work with it? Exactly. Violet shared the name, Ficus natalensis. Yes, that's the scientific name for backcloth. Yes, so when I went there and realized that they have technology, there's another option. It can be beaten like, you know, you beat minced meat, you know, like manually. Yes, it's manually beaten. But then if you also have a beater, there are beaters that beat pulp. You can use it to beat pulp, which I don't have here. So I do it manually myself. And I beat it for some hours until I achieve the pulp that I need. And then I mix it with plant puree. I mix it with okra, you know okra?
I don't
you
know.
okra? Okra.
I don't know. Our okra maybe is not the same. What do you mean?
It's the same. It should be. It's slimy, yeah?
Okay.
So you can either use okra or you can use aloe vera because of the binding effect. Yes. So you mix the pulp with the okra or aloe vera, depending on what you want as an artist. You know, being experimental is a good thing. Yeah. And then you frame it and let it out in the sun. Of course, out there in New York, they have a whole nother level of technology. They don't do it. They have dryers, but here we have the sun, you know? So I do it, everything I do it traditionally. And I manipulate it traditionally. I do everything myself. The only thing I don't do is harvest the backcloth. I work with farmers. Yeah, there are people who are specialists in farming backcloth, so I get it from them.
Okay, we have a scientific name here.
Yeah, she said it. Yes.
Ficus.
Ficus. Not that.
Yeah.
You can try. Ficus. Your baby should have that name.
I want to ask each and everyone,
Yes.
is any question from anyone out there? Any question for Sheila? Please don't be shy.
Maybe I don't know. Can I put up my hand? I don't know how to put up my hand.
Okay.
I'm also putting up my hand.
Okay, please. Okay.
No, Violet first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Kirsten Nakintende, thank you for the presentation. I quite caught Kirsten's a little bit later, so maybe I'll have to, it's nice that she can share with us the presentations. But I'll comment on Nakitende's. It feels like there was a big shift at a certain point from where you were focusing on topics that were surrounding womanhood as an artist who is practicing, push to the material to become a subject matter for you. And for me, I find, I don't know if this was a choice or it was through experimentation that you arrived at this spot, but I felt like for a moment your artwork shifted completely and focuses on the materiality of the materials that you're using. And that to me, I found interesting. I don't know if it was deliberate choice to turn the material into the subject matter, and whether also through that adding on to other themes, whether you could not separate the two of just like you have evolved from the themes that you were talking about and now focusing on this material that is absolutely amazing and has different effect with the way you treat it and the mastery you have with the fact that you're using hands and not lots with technology. So I wonder if there's at a point where you separate the two, where you continue on just with the material, because itself historically is very rich, and so are the techniques with it, and also the technologies that could be developed locally with the material. I would love to hear more about that. If this is intentional or it was just something.
Can I respond?
Yes.
Please.
Yes. Nantume, thank you for the question. Nantume has actually seen my work. She has seen the process because she's the curator for the show that I'm supposed to exhibit that work. Yeah, so she asked about how I sort of shifted the transition. Yeah, but you can see slowly there's, from the background, I've been working with paper, and I think through experimenting and searching and researching, I was driven to that. Yes, it's through the working with things and you fail, and then you go back, you know, and then you find this one thing that is triggering you every day. Yes, that's where I found myself, you know, going deeper into it and researching. And she also asked about separating the two. I think it depends when and where, you know. Yes, I think it depends, but for sure that material will be part of my work. Yeah, there's a lot that I've invested and that I'm willing to find out more. In a way, I might find myself that I will not separate from it. Material culture is not only significant, but it's also our role. It's our role. It's a form of preservation and archiving, I would think that. So I'm being more and more driven to getting involved with it through, I think it's one thing leading you to another, you know? Yeah. Did I answer your question, Nantume?
No question really. But and also I want to, do you treat your works as drawings, or as, how do you call your work if they're not in an, because some few you present them independently?
Yes.
What would you call them?
They're artworks. Like I said, it depends anywhere, you know. That's and you know, the beautiful thing I think about it is that you get to experience it in your own way. Now you feel like it's a drawing, yeah. Someone else will feel like it's
the way you treat it with fire. It's like you draw, you literally perforate, but in a drawing form. So I don't know if I'm to look at it as a drawing or as...
Yes, you can do that. Yeah, true. Yes, you can do that. At one point you can, because I draw with fire. Yeah.
Actually, it could be a sculpture because you look at it from the other side too, like a flag effect. Yeah, okay, sorry.
Nick. Thank you.
I also didn't have a, it's not really a question, it's more an observation about Sheila and Kirsten, both of you working with imagery that has to do with your identity as women, and then also the intense materiality of your material, so of your technique and your material. So and I was thinking about, you know, Kirsten's use of bioplastic and how that is absolutely linked to her environmental concerns about making stuff, and Sheila's exploration of you know, the traditional use of bark cloth. It was just an observation, and I just also wondered for you if there was a connection for you between yourselves as women and using material in that way.
I think so. I think it just it's spiritual, like Kirsten said.
I mean, yeah. I just wondered if it also had something to do with the affordability of art materials. I mean, we all know that they are excessively not only expensive, but also in Namibia now they're actually unobtainable. You know, 3 of the art supply shops in Namibia have closed down, and we don't actually have anywhere in Windhoek to buy art materials anymore. So we're probably going to be thrown more and more back into developing and inventing our own materials. And I wondered if, you know, I don't know if, I think maybe as women we might be uniquely positioned to actually do that for some reason. Maybe we're used to mixing and sewing.
Can I, just a comment on that really is the reason why I came up with the bioplastic and sand was really because I did it the first time for Australia, and I went to a residency, but I had no way of removing the artwork afterwards. So I had to think of something which I could make there quickly, and then which I could leave there and be part of the concept. So, and nowadays it's really great because we don't have space in Berlin. I don't have space in my studio to actually have artworks, installations the size of 20 meters or whatever. So it's a great way as well of that. But I think, yeah, it could be that it is like that women are in a way pushed into ways where we need to always think of new ways to do things, maybe because it has been, you know, done like that. But I don't know, because I don't have the typical female role of being a mother and all that. So I don't have to adjust for that. So I'm not so sure if I can use that as a, yeah. But perhaps we're just special.
Yeah.
Used to making do, maybe. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, just a comment. When I come up with when we look at when we decided to come up with this art presentation, we look at Kirsten and Sheila, and we were really trying to compare these two artists, and we find out that there's some similarity in their artwork. That's why we decided let's put them together. Let's both combine them. Unfortunately, these two artists, they never knew each other, so then we have to link them together. So, yeah, but yeah. I also have a question with or a comment, Violet. If you if you really, I'll write my email on the chat box. Then can you please contact me?
Yeah. Is that yeah, definitely.
Okay, is there any other question, guys?
I have a question.
Okay, question from them.
Linda.
Hi. I wanted to ask you, Sheila, about your mark making process. Violet spoke a little bit about how you use fire.
Yes.
But I was intrigued at how you speak about manipulating the surface. And then when she said fire, I was like, that's also quite a fire. I mean, fire can be quite symbolic. It can be violent, it can be healing, it can be like regenerative in agriculture. So I wanted to know, like, what's your process in terms of making the marks? Because some of them seem, they're figures that you can pick out, and then some of them seem quite organic, if I can use that word.
Yes. Wow, what a coincidence. I was, Nantume, my witness, when I was speaking about this work. There's something I highlighted. I was also interested in human condition, human behavior, human reaction. And it was kind of intentional to work with fire because it has a way of this, not destroying, deconstructing and reconstructing. Do you get it? Deconstructing and reconstructing. Yes. Yeah. Have I answered your question? Do you get it? Does it make sense to you when I say that? Yeah.
It does, I think.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Noel?
Yeah, I have a question for both you. I hope you can hear me. My internet connection is weird, which is why I have turned off my video. I just wanted to ask both, it's Kirsten and Sheila. I wanted to ask you, I'm really interested in storytelling, I think. And I found a similarity in some of your works. I don't think it's all of them, but some of your works, which basically have this participatory element. The idea that, I think for Sheila, that one, the deliverables remain physical. And the one to me was the one called Archived Memories, I think, Archived Memories. I wanted to ask you guys, after you have created your art pieces, or after you have done these installations, which are very participatory, for example, Kirsten, you spoke about how you wanted to make it like more comfortable for people to talk about how they are feeling in I guess, in public or in a more social sense. And for Sheila, you had a situation where you people like connect with just how physical world of communication and writing. So my question is, once you have put together installations and performed them, is there any way in which like the audience's reactions to what you're doing again informs like the art going forward? When people pick out memories, for example, in archive memories and such, and how is there a way their reactions to it also affect the way we go on to create more art? That's what I want to know. Yeah. Oh, that's it.
Who wants to go first?
And you should.
Should I? Thanks. I think it's every time that, as I understand the question, is if their reaction actually inspires me to go on doing this type of work.
To be clear, sorry, just to be clear, like I want to ask how it does, and if there is any like real tangible way which you can point to how your art changes because of that. For example, Sheila has people write to her. Does that affect what she does later? Does it evolve? Okay.
Okay. I'm just thinking of examples, but whenever you have a participatory performance, you have an intention, but the outcome is really never, ever, well, in my personal experience, is never, ever really exactly that what you thought of. Because people are so different. So you can have like a boundary of reactions, but you cannot control it. And I think that's the beautiful part about participatory art. So, and that also inspires me to go on doing, because I want people's normal reactions. that's the beauty about acting and
Yes.
acting.
Yes.
At the beginning, I must say, I was a bit, with my first participatory artworks, I was a bit disappointed in myself because I thought I had to control the process, but actually I realized, no, I don't. Because then I can do it with robots. Who cares, you know? Yeah, so I hope I kind of answered the question.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. True, like she said, for me, still, yeah, it definitely informs me to, I mean, you can't miss a reaction. Yeah, it tells you something, it communicates. So definitely it will inspire you to continue doing something either along those lines, or it will inform you to do something different, but it will have informed you. Definitely a reaction informs you. And the beauty about participatory practice is that you get a raw reaction. There's no pretense, you know, there's no pretense. You get a raw reaction. So you definitely achieve the goal. Even if you didn't intend to, you discover more, you know, you discover more from the reaction. Is that okay?
Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you very much for sharing. This has been awesome.
Thank you too for tuning in, Noel. It's good to see you.
Okay, guys. I just want to, are we done with questions? Is there any question from anyone?
Questions? No, Kirsten.
Oh, Kirsten. Okay, Kirsten.
I hope to see you in Berlin. We have an exhibition in Berlin and Hamburg, if the world ever opens up again. So it would be lovely if we could meet up with you.
Yeah.
And
please. Is this the exhibition that Sheila has been talking about? Yeah. I've already said, when you're here, we have to meet up, definitely.
This is so lovely, you know, you did a good job, Phil, you know.
Well, our borders are open.
Wow.
But I don't know if from other countries, but Norway and Sweden and all those.
Oh,
yeah.
Sheila and Violet, can you tell us about this exhibition? What exhibition are you guys referring to? We are so.
May I call on Julia? Somebody we are co-curating with, Julia Gemand, a friend and a former fellow students from Hamburg, is also online. I would request that she talks about the exhibition.
Yes.
Hi guys. Hi Sheila. Hello. Nice to see you online. Well, an exhibition that was meant to happen in May and was postponed to November, and now is postponed to next year because of all this improvisabilities. It's we titled it That Those Beings Be Not Being. And it's a group show of Sheila's work, Dorothy Amenuke and Teresa Nkoma, both artists from Kumasi and Accra. And we joined them. They work for all the three artists really in this exhibition will show more installative works, which is very beautiful because it's going to intertwine. All of them work with some sort of textile or fiber materials. So it's all about these different connections that work and are created spontaneously. The relationality of the material itself and of the three artworks that are going to flow together in the exhibition. So this was what we were interested in. And we're very hopeful that it's going to actually happen soon. So, which it's really about time. It's about time.
It won't happen online.
No, it cannot happen online.
The deliverables remain physical.
Right? Yes.
Yeah.
Well, so this is where we're at right now, just waiting it out and being patient and very excited about it still taking place. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was beautiful to see your work. I mean, I had a chance, luckily, to see it in January as well, in real life. I think there were some pieces that I did not see yet that you showed. It's really beautiful. I love the way that you started introducing these human shapes into a material that anyways you kind of treat like you were interested in the behavior of that material and how it's connected to well, social behaviors, you know, like these connections that are formed, and I'm really impressed, and I really can't wait to see it all installed in the space as it's meant to be. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Julia.
Thanks for the presentation, Sheila.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Julia, please don't forget Julia and Violet. Also, don't forget Namibian Art Association. We are here existing, so we also want to send our artists that side. Please consider us, and yeah, let's work together.
Great.
Can I lift my hand one more time before you go?
Yes.
Interesting that you actually mentioned that, because after Hamburg, I moved back to Kampala, and I'm reopening a space that I used to run 2 years ago before I went to school. And we're interested in exchanges and having artists, you know, crossover from organizations across West Africa, but as well as I'm interested to start relationships in Namibia. And it's good that we get to meet. I don't want to miss the opportunity to see. Yes, we could do something.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Definitely.
Yes.
Yes. And thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Kirsten and Sheila. We can't thank you enough. We have to thank you professionally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
We have to
For being here.
Yeah, it means a lot. Yeah, for listening.
Can we say bye?
Bye. Bye.
See you,
Thank you so
Dylan.
much. Thank you so much, Aktafa, for organizing it. It was very interesting.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much,
Wait,
Aktafa.
you guys. I just want to maybe I just find out that Selma Kauringa is one of our board members. Can you please?
Oh, yeah.
Can you please?
Aktafa, why are you putting me on the spot, Exe? Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
The spot. Can you please thank Kirsten and Sheila on our
Oh. Yes, no, I can do that. Thank you so much, Kirsten and Sheila. Thank you so much for sharing your art and with us. I think it was a very interesting presentation from both you ladies. I think we've all learned a lot, and I think it's interesting how the coronavirus has let us engage in ways and has let us reach out to you in Germany and to you in Kampala. It's Kampala, ne?
Yes, Kampala.
So it's awesome that we can come together on such platforms. It really makes connection. I know it's online, but it really brings us together.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time and for everything. And thank you so much, Aktafa, for organizing it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody also who has joined us.
Oh, yeah. We really appreciate.
Thank you. Okay. Good night.
Good night.
Bye.
Bye.
That's good.
Oh, man.
Hi, Martha.